I always loved Sunday dinners. When Amanda was a little girl, she used to beg me to let her stir the mashed potatoes or taste the gravy before it was ready. Now she had her own kitchen, her own family, and still, when she invited me over, I showed up early to help. That's just who I am. A helper. A mother. That evening, I arrived with a fresh apple pie. Nathan, Amanda's husband, greeted me at the door with a warm hug and offered to carry it to the kitchen. Their kids came running toward me, squealing "Grandma" like they always did. I smiled so wide it made my cheeks hurt. Amanda was in the kitchen, glass of wine in hand, looking effortlessly polished like she always does. "You're early," she said without turning. No hug, no smile. Just that voice she used lately, clipped and cold. "I thought I'd help with dinner," I said, setting my bag down. "We've got it handled," she replied. Her tone said more than her words. I swallowed the hurt and walked toward the living room to play with the kids. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe she was just tired. But even when we all sat down to eat, the tension stuck in the air like fog. Nathan kept trying to make small talk, asking about my garden, the book club, how I was feeling. He was always so kind. Then, about halfway through dinner, the moment happened. The one I'll never forget. Nathan turned to Amanda and said with a soft chuckle, "We're lucky your mom lives so close. Don't know what we'd do without her help." I smiled, a little bashfully. It felt good to be appreciated. Amanda let out a laugh, sharp and fake. Then, without even looking at me, she said, "She's not really help. She's just the babysitter." Just the babysitter. She didn't say it like a joke. She said it like a fact. A throwaway comment, like I was someone they hired off an app. I felt the words slap me in the chest. Nathan gave a nervous laugh like he wasn't sure if she was serious. The kids kept eating, unaware. But me? I sat there frozen, my fork halfway to my mouth. Amanda finally looked at me and smirked. Not a friendly smile, not a just kidding grin. A smirk, like she knew exactly what she was doing. I forced a small laugh. "Well, I do love being with the kids," I said softly. She took another sip of wine and shrugged. "We all have our roles." And just like that, the conversation moved on. Nathan started talking about work. Amanda chimed in about a yoga class she wanted to take. And me? I sat there quietly, chewing slowly, feeling something twist in my stomach. It wasn't just what she said. It was how she said it. Like I was beneath her. Like everything I'd done, all the rides to school, the nights I stayed late so they could go out, the early mornings I came over with breakfast, none of it mattered. I looked at her across the table. My daughter, my only child. I raised her alone after her father passed. I gave her everything I had. And now she sat there laughing with her husband, like I was nothing more than a convenience. That night after dessert, I washed the dishes while Amanda went upstairs for a bath and Nathan played with the kids. No one asked me to stay. No one thanked me. I wiped my hands, grabbed my purse, and quietly slipped out the door. As I walked to my car, the wind picked up and rustled the trees. I stood for a moment, holding the pie dish close to my chest. The air was colder than I expected. I wasn't angry yet. Not quite. But something deep inside me had shifted. Something small, like the very first crack in glass before it shatters. After that dinner, I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying Amanda's words over and over in my mind. Just the babysitter. It rang in my ears like an insult wrapped in a joke, and the way she smirked after saying it, like she was proud. I'd seen that look before. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. The next morning, I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of tea, trying to calm my thoughts. But instead of peace, old memories started flooding in. Memories of all the times Amanda needed me. It started right after her first child was born. She called me in tears, overwhelmed. "Mom, I can't do this alone. Nathan's back at work. I need help." So I packed a bag and stayed with them for 2 weeks. I cooked. I cleaned. I held the baby through the night so she could sleep. When their second child came, it was the same story. I was there every day, unpaid, unasked, because that's what mothers do, right? She'd call last minute. Can you watch the kids? I have a hair appointment. Can you pick them up from daycare? Nathan's running late. Can you come early? I need to squeeze in a spin class before work. I always said yes, every time. I rearranged my own life for her. Canceled doctor appointments, skipped book club, missed a friend's funeral. And not once did she say, "Thank you, Mom. I know this is a lot." She used to ask nicely, in the beginning. But over time, it changed. The requests turned into expectations. The pleas turned into, "You have to." And it wasn't just the babysitting. There was the credit card bill she couldn't pay that one Christmas. I remember she came over crying, saying they were behind on rent. Nathan didn't know. She was ashamed. "Mom, please," she whispered. "Just this once. I'll pay you back." Of course, I helped. I dipped into my retirement savings to cover it. Thousands of dollars. I told her to forget about paying me back. Then there was the time she showed up unannounced, shaking and pale. She asked me to promise not to judge her. "I made a mistake," she said. She didn't say much, just that there had been a misunderstanding at work, and that Nathan couldn't find out. I never got the full story, just hints. But I didn't press. I comforted her. I told her everything would be okay. Because that's what a mother does. But lately, Amanda had been different. She didn't call as much unless she needed something. When I came over, she barely looked up from her phone. The warmth that used to be there, the little girl who once held my hand at the grocery store, she was gone. Replaced by someone colder, sharper. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe she was just stressed. Raising 2 kids, working a job, managing a home, it's a lot. But the way she looked at me during that dinner, the way she smirked like she had power over me, it cut deeper than I expected. I wasn't angry. Not yet. But I was starting to feel something else. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Used. I looked around my house, quiet, still. My life had become a waiting room for Amanda's next call. I'd spent so many years living for her, and now she barely saw me as human. Just the babysitter. I stood up and walked to my bedroom, opened the drawer of my nightstand, and pulled out an old photo. Amanda, age 5, standing in a sunflower field, her hair tied in little pigtails, grinning, reaching for me. Back then, she used to love me out loud. Now I was a background character in her life, and deep down, I knew this didn't start at that dinner table. That insult wasn't new. It had been growing, slowly, quietly, over time. That smirk was just the first time she said it out loud. After that night at the dinner table, something inside me shifted. I stopped showing up early, stopped offering to help unless she asked. I told myself I needed space to protect my heart. But then, Amanda started calling more often. "Can you pick the kids up from school? Nathan's got a dentist appointment and I have a meeting." "Mom, could you watch them Friday night? We're going to a work dinner." "Sorry for the short notice, but can you come over right now? I've got to run." Just like before. I still went. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't bring myself to let my grandchildren down. They were innocent in all this. They loved me. And every time they ran into my arms, I felt like I still mattered to someone. But during those visits, I started noticing things. Little things at first. Once I found Amanda's car keys on the counter while I was babysitting. I figured she took Nathan's car that night. But when I glanced out the window, both their cars were in the driveway. She hadn't driven either of them. Another time, I saw her come down the stairs dressed like she was going to a nightclub. Hair curled, makeup flawless, heels far too high for a late work meeting. I smiled and said, "Big event tonight?" She didn't meet my eyes. "Just drinks with a client," she muttered, grabbing her purse and heading out the door. Client? It didn't feel right. One morning I arrived early. I knocked, but no one answered. I let myself in with the spare key Amanda insisted I keep, just in case. The kids were still upstairs getting dressed. Nathan had already left for work. And Amanda? She was in the kitchen, on the phone. She didn't hear me come in. She was laughing in a way I hadn't heard in years. Light, flirty, almost girlish. I stopped in the hallway and waited. Just listened. Then I heard her say, "No, you're crazy. I'll see you tonight, Chase." The name hit me like a stone to the chest. Chase? It wasn't the name itself. It was the way she said it. Sweet. Intimate. The way a woman speaks to someone who makes her feel special. Not a client, not a friend, someone more. I stepped into the kitchen pretending I'd just arrived. Amanda jumped like I'd thrown a bucket of cold water on her. She quickly hung up the phone. "You're early," she said, straightening her shirt. I smiled gently. Traffic was lighter than usual. She didn't say anything else, just poured herself coffee and stared at the counter. After that, I started seeing the cracks. Every visit revealed more. A strange perfume that wasn't hers. A hotel key card on the kitchen island, half covered by mail. A jacket on the couch that didn't belong to Nathan. I didn't go looking for these things. I wasn't snooping. They were just there, in plain sight. Like Amanda didn't think I'd notice. Or maybe she didn't care if I did. And Nathan? He was as cheerful as ever. Still kind to me. Still helping with dishes when I stayed for dinner. Still telling me about his job, his hobbies, his plans for the kids' school. He had no idea. That part stung the most. Nathan had always treated me better than Amanda did. And now, every time I looked at him, I felt like I was keeping a secret I didn't ask for. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to think that my daughter, the baby I rocked to sleep, the girl I raised, could lie to her husband like that. But the signs were getting harder to ignore. And so was the name Chase. It happened on a rainy Tuesday. I was at Amanda's house watching the kids again. She said she had meetings all day, but left the house dressed like she was heading to a photo shoot. High heels, tight red dress, smoky eyes. She barely said goodbye to the kids, just shouted, "Be good for Grandma," and slammed the door behind her. The kids played quietly in the living room while I gathered their toys from the hallway. I bent down to pick up a scattered pile of blocks outside the master bedroom when I noticed the door was open. Normally, Amanda kept it closed, but this time it was wide open. I hesitated. I wasn't trying to be nosy. I just figured I'd tidy a bit while the kids were busy. As I stepped inside, the first thing I noticed was the smell. A mix of expensive cologne and roses. Not Nathan's scent. I'd known Nathan long enough to recognize his aftershave. This was different. It was heavier, muskier, strange. Then I saw the shirt. A man's button-down, navy blue, crumpled at the foot of the bed. Not Nathan's size, not his brand. I picked it up carefully, as if touching it would confirm something I didn't want to believe. That's when I saw it. A small silver bracelet on the nightstand. Engraved. C.R. Chase. It had to be. My heart pounded as I stared at it. What kind of woman leaves another man's shirt and jewelry out in the open? With her mother watching the children just a few rooms away? I knew then. Whatever I'd suspected before. This was real. I sat down on the edge of the bed, still holding the bracelet, trying to steady my breath. My fingers were trembling. There was a folder tucked under the corner of the pillow. I pulled it out without thinking. Inside were receipts, hotels, dinners, weekend getaways. All recent, all signed with Amanda's name. One of them was from last weekend. I remembered that weekend well. Amanda said she had a corporate retreat and begged me to sleep over with the kids. I packed my bag, cooked for them, read bedtime stories, even did the laundry. While she was off in a hotel with someone named Chase, I put everything back exactly where I found it and quietly walked out of the room. The kids were still playing. One of them looked up and said, "Grandma, can we have a snack?" I nodded. "Of course, sweetheart." In the kitchen, I made them sandwiches with shaky hands. My mind was spinning. I kept thinking about Nathan, how kind he was to me, how proud he was of Amanda. He was raising their kids, building a life, all while she was sneaking around with another man. And I had been standing right in the middle of it, helping, smiling, lying by silence. I tried to tell myself it wasn't my business, that what Amanda did in her marriage was between her and Nathan, but I couldn't shake her voice from my memory. Just the babysitter. That smirk, that tone, that cold dismissal, like I was nothing but a pair of old hands there to wipe noses and warm leftovers. I remembered the nights I sat up with her when she was sick, the years I worked extra shifts just to afford her piano lessons, the way she used to call me Mama when she was scared. And now, she used me like furniture. I looked out the kitchen window. The rain was falling harder. Amanda's car was still gone. I had time to think. What would happen if I told Nathan? Would he even believe me? Would Amanda deny it? Would she turn the kids against me? My heart ached with the weight of it all. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want drama. I just wanted to be seen, to be respected, to be loved again, not used, not ignored, not humiliated. I cleaned up the kitchen slowly, trying to collect myself. Then I sat down at the table, folded my hands, and made a decision. One way or another, this silence would not last. It was Amanda's idea to host another family dinner. Just something casual, she said over the phone. Nathan's been working hard and the kids miss you. She sounded chipper, like everything was perfect. Like we hadn't spoken any harsh words. Like I hadn't seen the truth behind her carefully polished life. Maybe she assumed I'd stay quiet, that I always would. I agreed to come, but this time, I brought nothing. No pie, no apron, no eagerness to help. I just brought myself, and the truth that had been sitting heavy on my heart. Nathan greeted me at the door with his usual warmth. He looked tired but happy. "Good to see you, Elizabeth," he said, giving me a hug. "The kids are already asking for bedtime stories." I smiled gently. "Of course." Amanda came down the stairs a few minutes later, dressed in a silky green blouse. She looked flawless, as usual. She gave me a quick hug, then turned away before I could even return it. We all sat at the dining table. The kids chatted, Nathan poured wine, Amanda passed around salad like nothing was wrong. "How's your week been, Mom?" she asked mid-bite, her tone light, controlled. "Eventful," I said softly. Nathan looked up, curious. "Everything okay?" I nodded slowly, my eyes shifting from him to Amanda. "I've been doing a lot of thinking lately," I continued. "About family, about truth." Amanda stiffened in her seat. Her fork froze midair. "What do you mean?" Nathan asked, glancing between us. Amanda spoke quickly, too quickly. "She's probably just been tired from all the babysitting. We've been leaning on her too much." I held up my hand. "No," I said calmly. "This isn't about babysitting. It's about respect and honesty." The table went silent. Even the kids picked up on the shift. I looked directly at Amanda. "I've kept your secrets for a long time, Amanda. I kept quiet about the night you came crying over that misunderstanding at work. I kept quiet when you borrowed money and never mentioned it again. I stayed quiet when you started disappearing at night." Amanda's face turned pale. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Nathan leaned forward, his voice quiet. "Disappearing?" Amanda tried to laugh. "Mom, come on. This isn't the time." I continued, my voice steady. "And I kept quiet when I found a man's shirt in your bedroom. A bracelet engraved with his initials, hotel receipts, late-night phone calls to someone named Chase." Amanda's mouth fell open. Nathan's face dropped. "You're lying," Amanda whispered, her voice trembling. I turned to Nathan. "I wish I were." He looked at Amanda. "Who's Chase?" She blinked fast. Her hands were shaking. "Nathan, it's not what it sounds like." "Then explain it," he said. Silence. Amanda stared at her plate like she could fall into it and disappear. The kids looked confused, picking at their food. Nathan reached for his glass of water with a shaking hand. I stood up slowly. "I didn't come here to destroy anyone. I came because I'm tired of pretending I don't see what's in front of me. I've been more than a babysitter, Amanda. I've been your mother, your protector, your constant. And all I've ever wanted, was a little respect." No one spoke. The only sound was the quiet ticking of the wall clock. Amanda finally whispered, "You shouldn't have said anything." I looked at her one last time. "No, Amanda. You shouldn't have given me a reason to." Then I turned, kissed the kids on the tops of their heads, and walked out. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel proud. I felt free.